Welcome to the webinar on design challenges in commercial vehicles, organized by Motoring Trends and supported by Allison Transmission, the world's largest manufacturer of fully automatic transmissions for medium and heavy-duty commercial vehicles. We are now all set for the webinar on commercial vehicles. So those engaged in transportation segment by road are confronted with a lot of challenges. This is not only in India, but also in any market for that matter. But it depends upon, depending upon the market conditions, the road transportation evolved. As far as India is concerned, it has evolved from a very primitive stage to where we are now. So design, as it's the last element that the customer would look at when they go to buy a commercial vehicle. For example, if someone is buying a two-wheeler or a passenger car, he or she would look at it from different aspects, like for example, the headlamps, to the grille, to the doors, to the tail lamps, to the windscreen pattern, bumper, etc., etc., because he or she will be driving. But when it comes to commercial vehicles, it's not the case. Even if the driver is the owner, he still thinks that he is the driver. So he just compromises on all the goodness that he needs in a commercial vehicle, like for example, the comfort, safety, etc. But this has made even the vehicle manufacturers to address as per his requirements. So that's the job of the vehicle manufacturer. Customers' expectations are satisfied. So that's how they work at it. But over a period of time, things began to change, and ultimately, even earlier or even today, the operating economy is the key. But still, in earlier days, the power to weight ratio has not been given importance at all. We have seen in our experience the cleaner of a truck always running behind the vehicle when it is negotiating a gradient to keep the wooden lock so that the truck does not come back that way. So that was the power to weight ratio was importance given those days. But all became gradually changing. And in some cases, the design has helped the user and vice versa. For example, the driver, why he is not been given importance is because that's a stigma. Those who are jobless, who don't get any job, will get into driving truck. So he is considered as lowest in the strata. So that has made the designers to, or even the vehicle manufacturer, or even the fleet owners, not to look at him as a key element in this transportation. So this has been going on for some time till the small commercial vehicles came, where people from those who were transporting goods in bullock cart became an entrepreneur buying an SUV. SCV, that is small commercial vehicle or micro commercial vehicle. So then step by step things became very convenient, and even AC cabins were being demanded by the driver. This is on the truck side. When it comes to bus, premium bus is considered, not at all considered for India. Decades ago, some companies wanted to venture into premium bus segment. They were confronted with certain things, and it was like equating how computer was invented and how it was actually being applicated about 70-80 years ago. We all remember, the experts said the world needs about 4 to 5 computers, and that's it. But today you have computer about 10-20 in every household, including your mobile phones, gadgets, or etc., etc. So that has helped the proliferation of computer. The same way, India also, the bus journey has started. Those who were traveling by bus were looked at are coming from the lowest strata. That was once the mentality of the other people or in general. So the premium bus really did not take off, but some companies made an entry, and today it is like going by a flight. So it has evolved. So parallelly, the regulations, etc., helped in terms of safety, emissions, etc., helped the vehicle designers to come up with innovative technologies, etc. And now it has gone to even multi-axle vehicle, but India needs both. Therefore, the design evolved based on few elements coupled with the regulations, safety, emission norms, etc., etc. So now India is also moving towards electric mobility. I don't know whether fuel cells will come as early, but it's going to come anyhow. So at the end of the day, now the focus of the customer is to enhance the uptime and to improve the life cycle cost. So to know more about the changes that are going to happen in the commercial vehicle industry, we have four experts to talk about on this topic. We have Mr. A. Ramasubramaniam, President AMW Motors. We have Mr. Rajendra Singh Sachdeva, Chief Operating Officer and Chief of R&D at VECV. We have Mr. Pradeep Kumar Themmayan, Head of Product Engineering at DICV, and Mr. Satyaseelan, Head of Design, Ashok Leyland. So now I request Mr. A. Ramasubramaniam to deliver his speech. I just have a small intro. Beginning work in 1975 with Telco, now it is Tata Motors. He fueled his interest in R&D and orchestrated the development of the first indigenously developed several systems for vehicles at Tata Motors, subsequently Axle India, Eicher, and AMW. He is a member of SAE, ASM, and Indian Institute of Metals, and a qualified CFA. He is one of the veterans and doyens in the commercial vehicle industry. Over to Mr. A. Ramasubramaniam.
Thank you, Mr. Murli, and thank you for the kind introduction. The topic is something which is both challenging and exciting, except for the fact that we are all sitting at home, hoping that at some point we'll start getting to work. Getting in straight into the topic, if I were to trace the history of design of commercial vehicles in India, I've seen about 45 years. So one of the things is from incredulousness, we're saying that we can't do it, to a situation where we want it tomorrow. I think there has been a very long journey where once upon a time we could not do anything on our own was the basic expectation, to today's expectation of things where we should be world beaters in terms of time and accuracy of what we deliver. I think this is a very big change. So I would try to first address the fact about time expectations. I think over a period in what I have seen, from scratch, a truck design started with somewhere around 5 to 6 years with a lot of inaccuracies, down to through what I call as the golden era in the 90s, where it was around 3 years, and a lot of computation was anticipatory, and a lot of testing was basically to prove the fact that it is already known to be okay. To today, where the expectations are, I don't know, maybe Rajendra should tell you better, but I think it is somewhere around 18 months to finish a product from scratch. So it has really crashed, and during this time, the expectations of the quality of output, the number of errors that are allowed, I mean, not that any errors are allowed, but generally you don't say everything is perfect. even in a statistical sense. So if you're allowed 3 per thousand, it is not so bad. So the number of errors allowed are significantly lower than what it used to be. And I'm not talking about the bosses allowing errors of the subordinate. I'm talking about the market accepting errors, because the time is gone when we used to try out a lot of things in the market itself, considering the fact that our own ability to test was quite limited. Now, we will first look at some of the aids and then some of the challenges. The aids to getting there are availability of significant expert systems. I mean, if you ask my boss, he will say there is Watson computer and that's all you need, plus 4 GTs, and you can design a truck. It's not as simple as that, but there are a whole lot of expert systems which are available today, which puts paid to the fact that you can use available experts better than you can ever do before. And I'm saying this with consciousness for the simple reason that expert systems do not replace people, but expert systems being created by people are a great aid to people who know what trucks mean. Of course, if you don't know trucks, no expert system is of any great use. The second thing is the ability to marry what is available as expert systems and the expertise combined. I'm saying this very consciously, two different things. Expertise is something which is resident in people with their experience, and expert systems are things which are available for you to buy and use. A combined marriage of this has greatly affected or enabled to cut down the speed, time, and consequently increase the speed of delivery and execution. So this marriage, if done badly, can result in a lot of disasters, because quite often over-reliance on either expertise or over-reliance on expert systems in most cases has led to problems from what I have seen. Of course, the world hasn't stopped there. It throws up challenges in the form of artificial intelligence, IoT. These are both opportunities and challenges. So today, right at the beginning, in addition to doing things which are traditional in nature, which is knowledge of segments, knowledge of customer requirements, customer specific segments development, there has also become a need for creating excitement through IoT and AI. And like the Carnot's model, these are still exciting features. They have still not become standards, but they are significant exciting features which we will have to introduce. But unlike the tradition where exciting features were generally added without necessarily becoming perfect, today every IoT or AI system which you introduce has to be perfect right from day one. So that's a very big difference. Now this is when you talk about traditional trucks, and traditional trucks have between 4, 6, 10, 12, 14, I don't know how many wheels nowadays, but quite a few. But effectively 4 wheels, let's say. And most of them are driven by diesel engines in India at least, with tighter and tighter emission norms. We will address that a little later. But the challenge of the future is not so much the traditional trucks, but the non-traditional prime movers that are coming into play and starting to challenge the space, which has been kind of dominantly occupied by diesel for the past, close to 100 years. I think a bit less than 100, but somewhere around that. What are those challenges? Now, diesel considered as a bad fuel, except all of us on this panel will not agree, because we have tried to work and make sure it goes up to Euro 6. But the fact does remain that particulates are bad, and it is a negative in diesel. And this is getting replaced progressively by use of gas and challenged significantly by electrics. Now, gas in in two forms, which is compressed and in the form of liquefied gas. Have two different applications because liquefied gas is a much longer range, but less applied in India at least. And compressed gas, which has been applied significantly in India, mainly for buses, has a significant problem with range because you can't carry too much gas. So these are challenges, but these are the future opportunities as we see, in order to make sure that you don't struggle with emissions in diesels. Electric vehicles, according to me, is still the we did significant amount of work in electric vehicles right up to 50 tons. Tried them out. The thing which comes to me as a conclusion is the battery cost is still pretty high. I think the cost of batteries also, I would say there are two things wrong with the batteries today. Their densities are a bit too low. I think the best of batteries are somewhere around maybe 135 to 150, 145, 150 uh, watt hour per kg, versus what is really required is somewhere in the 400. Now, if you're going to get 400 watt hour per kg, I think it'll replace diesel tomorrow. Is my very considered opinion, despite the cost. This is essentially because as the watt hour per kg increases, the weight of batteries comes down and the range with which the batteries can be used goes up significantly. So I don't have to, this is an expert group, so I will not add too much value to this. But I think that's a big challenge. So if you look at CNG, there is a challenge, LNG, there is a challenge, and EV, there is a challenge. But these are three big opportunities for the future. Now, I do believe that the fringe player is fuel cell, and today it's a bit early to talk about it. So now we were talking about design of vehicles. I was really getting into commercial vehicles as a system. But when you talk about design of vehicles, there was a time when I used to wait for dynamic analysis of stresses and strains and being able to predict life, etc. And there was a time when only static could be done. You couldn't do anything. I mean, today everything can be done on the computer itself except drive a truck. So this level of expert systems being available increase the cost of the softwares, cost of maintenance, cost of design itself. But that trend also has changed of late. I don't know how many of you use AWS or web-based software availability, which is where you pay per seat. And I believe the trend of a very fat R&D department will probably go away in the future for the simple reason a lot of expert systems using web-based software would probably get offloaded to outside, keeping the what I would call the core expertise within the company, and a lot of things which are once considered core expertise have now become routine. So to that extent, the ability to offload has also gone up significantly. This is as far as software is concerned. Now, so what has happened over the past 30, 40 years is that design has become more complex but easy to do, purely because of the systems, the computers, and the knowledge that people have gained. And as a consequence, people who know trucks are able to do trucks better. The output has become significant, and it has come faster with less failures. And the expectations have always outstripped the capability of anybody who can do it. But what are the issues that we face today? Even today in India, despite, I mean, I wouldn't say your expertise is in any way less significant than anywhere else in the world, except in the area of innovation, probably, because in most of the parametric work, we are probably the best in the world today. But you still have trucks where wood is used for making cabins. You still have bodies which are made of wood, which are integral to the cabin. You still have suspensions which are pretty archaic. You still have crash systems which don't really meet anything like world standards. So why is that? And that is essentially because the market hasn't grown to accept the capability which there is. Whatever we do otherwise has come because of two reasons. One, of course, I think availability of great systems has never driven speed. What is driven is competitiveness. So if there are five, instead of two players, if you have 5 or 6 players, and some of them are world class, like BharatBenz and VECV and all, then you have to do it faster, you have to do it better, you have to do better systems. But what the market demands is, I mean, it's not something significantly different from what I saw about 30 years ago. They still want economics of operation. They want the truck to be given almost free. Any increase in cost is not accepted. And we still have a tremendous fight for gaining market share. As a consequence, we probably sell the best trucks in the world at the cheapest price. So consequently, where do we cut it? We cut it where the customer interface happens. For example, knowledge of segments in terms of what I know about the market and what I know about trucks is significant. But what I know about customer specific demands is still ruled by a very subjective group of people who do not want to accept anything new. And this, according to me, is going to be the big challenge when we get into gas and electric and all that, because it look very odd to have a wooden cabin with an electric vehicle. The second, all product advantages as we go cost money. Maybe over a period it costs less, but it does cost money. It does cost more money than what you would normally do. And the ability to market the use of these product advantages has been a design challenge. So these are some of the significant challenges that we face in design, in the sense we want to go, we are rearing to go forward, but we're not allowed to go at the delivery end of the product. Service end, as I see it, is getting into cutting edge areas purely because it is something which is going to cut costs and make it more convenient to the customers. And finally, when you talk about designers as a group of people who are going to serve your final selling effort, we are getting into a space where when I started to ask, do we really need dealers or can we do it through the net? What is the role of designers in the final sale of vehicles in terms of making customization customer specific? I can go on, but thank you very much for your time.
Mr. Ramasubramaniam, thank you so much for giving an update on the developments right from the primitive stage. You talked about cutting flab in R&D, which is something very different. I don't know whether it's doable. Until about the role of designers in the final sale of vehicle, which is very key. Now I would request Mr. Rajendra Singh Sachdeva to take over. Mr. Sachdeva is responsible for complete technology and manufacturing operations of VECV, including R&D, purchasing, manufacturing, quality management, project management, aftermarket, technology, procurement, logistics, etc. He heads operations of the 4 facilities of VECV, that is Eicher Trucks and Buses, VE Powertrain, Bhopal Plant, and Bus Plant. Over to Mr. Sachdeva.
Yeah. Good afternoon, everybody, and it is a really honor and privilege to be sharing the dais with Mr. A. Ramasubramaniam and other esteemed leaders of the industry. And just for the audience, I want to tell that I have been mentored and groomed by Mr. A. Ramasubramaniam. And he is my boss who has helped me to build the competency in CV design, and whatever I've reached thanks to him, and whatever concept he was sharing, that's what he has been preaching from the beginning, that as a designer, what we should do, how we involve other, how the cross-functionality work, how the interdependence work. Those are the few areas I think which are ingredient for success for that thing, for the successful designer. And whatever we have learned from Mr. Ramasubramanian, I have tried to put that in terms of the hardcore process, but maybe in terms of concept, in terms of what is the internalized knowledge is there that you have heard recently. And if I see that design challenges for commercial vehicle in India, I see that most important or biggest challenge is that designer has to be the god, and in the toughest areas. Why designer has to be god? Diverse customer application and segments you can never predict. Each segment has its own story to tell, and high durability and reliability, and still be the lighter and offering the highest payload for the widespread product abuse. Low cost design, acquisition price continue to be even 30 years back and today also this continue to be the main issue, that cost has to be lowest, and the TCO concept still not selling. Everybody asks for fuel efficiency, uptime, payload, and driver productivity, but rarely anybody is ready to pay, and that's the challenge the value segment players like Daimler and VCV are facing. Of course, acceptance is growing with passage of time. Then design for low maintenance, and then of course that huge amount of customization is being asked for, leading that modular platform design. And number of variants, I was talking with Deso at some of our implementation, IDM implementation. They said that in Europe, per variant, there are only 4 vehicles which are manufactured. This was a lesson for me. We always said that variants.
Sorry to interrupt, you can use the presentation.
Yeah. So I was saying that modular design is a need of the hour so that we can offer the highest number of variants. So these are the design challenges which I see across a spectrum of thing. And I was talking with the Deso team, and they said that in Europe they have done the analysis, and they find that per variant there are only 4 number of vehicle being manufactured on the average. What they have done, that shows that need for customization and variants across the globe. And in India also, there's a big challenge to ensure that highest amount of customizations yet meeting every application which is required. And we see that various areas, high overload, and I don't know how we do the designs overnight with the one stroke of pen. Axle capacity was increased, and almost 4 million vehicle was made to carry 20% higher load, and over and above there 5% extra overload also. And now anything happened to warranty, anything happened to reliability, durability, designer is still the answerable. That why there are issues are there. That's what the designer has to equip himself to take care of that thing. So various amount of application and customer need continue to be the low acquisition cost, higher fuel efficiency, durable aggregate, driver productivity, tire life, payload, all those things. And since fuel continue to be the very prime cost out, almost 38% of the overall cost, which used to be earlier 45, but since toll tax and driver cost is slightly increased. So fuel cost is today again 38% highest, and which is ensuring that continue to be the prime driver. And in Europe, still it is 10 to 12% of the overall driving cost. And these are the expectation which every CV manufacturer is trying to meet, ensuring that our NPI process is robust so that lesser errors are there and accuracy extent is higher. Variant you should be able to offer through modular platform, first time right product in the shortest possible time, and differentiated aftermarket experience through digitalization, so that as Mr. Ramasubramanian said, that there shouldn't be any now dealers. Where are the equipped mechanics available in the market? With Euro 6, BS6 are coming in, where there are almost 19 sensor and actuators are there. How we implement How we ensure that every mechanic across the country is trained in that? So how we are taking control of the vehicle from remote location, and then we able to address the issue sitting remotely. That's what is the need of the hour for digitalization. And last issue, last pillar is the people, competence building and customer-centric innovation. I think this is the most important element. And today, if we look at our families and look at the society in general, how many people wants to do Gemba, go under the vehicle, understand the vehicle design technology, and then implement that thing. And that means availability of the trained and competent resources for the automobile industry. Today, where we stand, I think that's what is the one of the pillars and challenge which we all must ponder and see that how we can take it forward. So I take these 5 pillars and try to explain that what are the challenges and how at VECV, what we have learned from many of the veterans as well as from Volvo, and how we are trying to do that. And I think Volvo NPI process, which we are following in VECV, it has helped us to build a lot of cross functionality. I can say that, which has been a challenge. And it has got a distinct 3 phases are there. One is the technology creation, which you can see that the first segment, technology creation. Second is the concept development, and third is the industrialization. So you can see that technology creation and innovation is a distinctly different. Here there's no time pressure, which the time is not there. Mr. Subramanian was saying that always designer is under pressure to deliver in the smallest possible time. But this phase is disintegrated from the project phase in the Volvo, and that's what lead to technology creation and innovation, leading to then second phase is the product development, and third is the industrialization. So this process has ensured that cross functionality is there. All the activities are gated and managed at the every gate. Accuracy is meant, quality is assured, and then you go ahead with that thing. This is a very big change in the people ego, cross functionality, coming out of silo and working together, which is a big challenge. And today Indians are learning to adapt to this process. Probably 15 years back, 20 years back, Mr. Ram Subramanian, we can say when he introduced the Indian localized, indigenized heavy commercial vehicle in India, and there the overall concept and overall working was there. And today things are changing in India across the industry. The modular platform, lot of focus on the modularity. People have underneath there, everything is same. You change the engine or you change the cabin and you come out with a different product segment. And you give the cluster of the holes, positioning of the aggregate, create the modules in the vehicle, so that any wheelbase change, any variant change can be done with the use of the softwares, and you can reduce the time to market with these things. And here you can see that click of the button, you can go for different chassis system and different cabs, so that you can ensure that different application can be catered for. So how do we become first time right product introduction? How we ensure? It's a dream of every designer. But today, with a lot of software support available, things are becoming better, but it doesn't, it puts onus on the designer competence even better, even higher, because the garbage in, garbage out, that is in the software, and we can't rely on the software. You have to use your competence irrespective of, but yes, overall time taken may be now lesser. So on the first time right product, on the fuel efficiency, engine and driveline optimization, durable aggregate, driver productivity, ride comfort, handling, and NVH is becoming very important. Tire life, which is almost a second cost, with suspension and steering optimization and increased payload by lightweighting. All those you have to ensure which are the required by customer and still offer the first time right product. And a lot of software support in terms of better combustion efficiency for better fuel efficiency, turbo blade profile optimization, lubrication optimization, valve timing optimization, rolling resistance reduction, FU optimization through Cameo and other virtual vehicle validation, driveline matching, and other things you are able to do. Today, you can practically run the vehicles on the virtual roads and simulate the life using CVMs. And we can predict that engine life is 1 million kilometer, cab life is 6 lakh kilometer, digital road. So these are the technology which are helping what Mr. Subramanian was mentioning. And ride comfort tracks are there, complete vehicle modeling is done, and then you can ensure that for 12-hour ride comfort, how you are able to maintain the suspension and cab suspension so that overall you feel that there's a comfortable environment for the driver. So these are the software ensuring that first time ride products are available. Similarly, vehicle handling and tire life also, there's a lot of now competencies are available, softwares are available which are being used. And it also based on the various tire manufacturing techniques, it's a bias tire, a radial tire, force measurement, simulations. All those issues help us to ensure that best in class handling, ensuring that tire life is maintained. And fourth pillar is the differentiated aftermarket experience. Here I can say that I think in Indian CV industry is going for a very big shift now. And there I can say that now 100% connected vehicle and 100% performance is being committed. All the three areas, number one is the fuel management, second is the driver management, and third is the uptime management. All the three areas are being addressed through the 100% connected vehicle. And telematics are becoming smarter now. But now, what are the feedbacks? You can, with the telematics, now you can take remotely, you can take control of the vehicle. In case of any malfunction indication, lamp is glowing, you can actually instruct the mechanic which wire to look at, which diagnostic aspect need to be ensured so that you are able to address. And without being present physically, you can ensure that vehicle uptime and vehicle mileage and driver management. He drive the vehicle on the specified route. He doesn't overspeed, doesn't over braking, so that which impact the tire life. So those issues are becoming now much easier to manage now with the new icon shift which is coming in the Indian CV industry. And of course, the people, which are the fifth pillar, which I shared that thing, that how we attract the talented people to come to the design and that to automobile design. Today's mindset is more people want to do digitalization, Gemba visit. Earlier, if we want to do QAG process, we want to follow that thing. We say that we go to the market, understand the customer need, do the Gemba visit, do the design thinking, understand what are the aspects which you need to improve so that his productivity go up, customer productivity go up. Come back, do the design, and you completely manage the design, understanding and keeping the customer in mind. But if we are not able to attract the people who want to go to the market, visit the Gemba, and also work in the automobile industry, and that's a bigger challenge. And that's what to ensure that thing, lot of innovative techniques are being deployed. Of course, that ensuring that we go for the minimum viable innovation process. We start incentivizing the innovation so that people do innovation and then you reward. And that has been building the culture of innovation has helped. And I am very happy to share that last 8 to 10 years, involving the board of VECV for rewarding the innovation done in VECV. This you see the glimpse of that thing that has been very good enabler, and we are able to retain the talent with this thing. And that's that type of incentivization and motivation we need to do so that we can attract more people to our design. And CV design particularly, I want to say that number of innovation entries have grown, which has resulted in today now 7-engine platform meeting BS6, and entire product range is now introduced. And this is what we have been able to do at VECV following. But yes, challenges are there, and then ensuring that in the shortest possible time you implement the design which is acceptable to the customer and adding the value to customers' operating economy. That's what we need to do. But if I glimpse and if I look at my experience and I listen to industry veteran, I see that a lot of work need to be done. Maybe CV Design Academy need to be created where we can engage the competent workforce and focus on the application engineering. Local and low cost innovative solution need to be rewarded. And industry also need to come out with frugal innovation to meet the customer demand. Entrepreneurial ecosystem need to be developed. And the local supply chain need to be developed. And government has to help us in this thing, ensure that vehicles are not abused. and vehicle scrappage policies and other infrastructure needs are fulfilled. So that, and also last and not the least, that our roadmap for the fuels, that has to be very clear that how we are going to go from diesel to CNG to LNG to EV to fuel cell. I think that roadmap need to be defined and sticking to that, so that automobile industry and CV designers equip themselves for those competency and take it forward, so that we can ensure that our first time right product can be introduced in the shortest possible. Thank you very much. This was my last slide, and thanks a lot. Open to any questions.
Mr. Rajan Singh Sachdeva, thank you so much for giving us a wonderful presentation on VECV, its activities, its future commitments, and also talked about adding value to customer is key. Customer has always been the king. Next, may I request Mr. Pradeep Kumar Thimmayan to speak. Mr. Thimmayan was earlier head of product planning and project lead at heavy duty platform at Truck Asia. He was a lead engineer covering heavy duty platform, vehicle integration, and heavy duty platform at DIC. Over to Mr. Thimmayan.
Thank you. So, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I hope and pray that you all are safe and healthy during this tough time. Thank you all for joining this webinar, and special thanks to Motoring Trends and Mr. Murli for organizing such a webinar exclusively for commercial vehicles. And we listened to Mr. Ramasubramaniam and Mr. Sachdeva, very interesting and thoughtful points. Thank you for sharing your knowledge and experience. And then I'm also eagerly waiting for Mr. Satyashilan's presentation. So I'm going to center my discussion around commercial vehicle development engineers, pretty much similar to what Mr. Sachdeva covered. What are their challenges? And I will also touch upon some suggestions on how they can overcome their challenges. So, but before we talk about the challenges, I would like to touch upon why CV industry is unique and commercial vehicles are different. And normally when it comes to automobiles, the fanfare is for passenger cars or two-wheelers. But we are not a very fancy industry like passenger cars or two-wheelers. Commercial vehicles, to some extent, is still seen as a boring stuff. But commercial vehicles play a very important role in the economy. Commercial vehicles keep the society running. So they are part of our day-to-day needs in terms of reaching our requirements, in terms of delivering our needs. Even during the lockdown phase in March and April, commercial vehicles played a very important role in terms of delivering all the essential goods to all the people in the country. So nevertheless, commercial vehicle development engineer needs to think more elements in his job. And also there are some unique aspects he has to cover when he is developing or designing commercial vehicles. So there are three elements I will touch upon here. The first one is commercial vehicles create livelihood and commercial vehicles impact livelihood. So by selling a commercial vehicle, unlike a two-wheeler or a passenger car, we are not selling to end user. So we are selling to a person who uses commercial vehicle as a medium for his business to earn his livelihood. Also, commercial vehicles have a huge influence on the economy, both positively and negatively. So the job of a commercial vehicle designer or development engineer should be to see how to maximize the returns from commercial vehicle for his end customer. Second, commercial vehicles, if they are not designed or developed properly, can become a danger on the roads. Yes, any automobile has the possibility of getting into an accident and create danger on the road. But commercial vehicles, when they meet such situation, can become even more catastrophic. Imagine a tanker meeting an accident. Imagine a truck which is carrying chemicals meeting with an accident. The damages created by them are much higher. Not only that, never underestimate a small piece of part flying out of the vehicle that can kill people. So a commercial vehicle development engineer has a huge responsibility in terms of making his design such that it is not failing, it is not falling apart. He has to doubt every part and then take care in his DFME. Third, but not the least, commercial vehicles have a big impact in terms of sustainability. Commercial vehicles consume more fossil fuels and then also take a bigger share in terms of CO2 emission. So commercial vehicles, in terms of consumables, commercial vehicles consume up to 10 times more consumables compared to a passenger car in a year. Also, in terms of longevity, we are talking about not 1 lakh kilometers or 2 lakh kilometers of life. We are talking about 10 lakh or 15 lakh kilometers of life of commercial vehicle. And then also per year coverage of close to 1 lakh kilometers compared to a passenger car which covers 10 to 15,000 kilometers. So as commercial vehicle development engineer needs to consider these aspects as well when he is selecting his aggregates or when he is selecting his materials in terms of defining the product to take care that he is not affecting the sustainability adversely. Not just these three aspects, the regulation also is another challenge when it comes to commercial vehicle development. So generally, we have seen that the regulations for automobiles is on the increasing trend globally. And we have seen in the past few years, the regulations are getting much more stringent in the Indian automotive space as well. So the general regulations like emission requirements, fuel efficiency requirement, and then also the commitment of OEMs to become carbon neutral. Second, all the advanced safety requirements which are coming up in the coming years, these regulations will become tighter, and then this will pose challenge for commercial vehicle development engineers. Not only that, the recall law which will come into picture will also play a major role in terms of how the trucks and buses are designed and developed. Not just that, with increased electronics in the trucks and buses, the functional safety regulation ISO 26262 and cyber security will also become more and more important. Apart from all these, commercial vehicles are also controlled by specific bodies like PISO, which controls vehicles carrying hazardous goods, and DGMS, which controls the vehicles used in the mines. So these entities also define additional regulations which has to be met. So in total, the growing demand of these regulations will also put more pressure on the commercial vehicle development engineers. So that means the CV development engineers have to foresee these regulations and then look at how they can front load as much as possible in their development plan. So with these understanding these uniqueness of commercial vehicle industry, let us now step into discussing on the challenges that a commercial vehicle development engineer faces. So before we get into the challenges, I will also touch upon how the changes in regulations or policies can impact development approach of commercial vehicles. So we are seeing that the automotive industry is going through disruptive changes. There are also several external factors that we see which are affecting the automotive industry. In 2017, India implemented GST. So whenever we discuss about GST, the first impact that will come to our mind is the GST rates for commercial vehicles. But what are the other impacts GST has brought into commercial vehicles? So with implementation of GST, the transport efficiency has improved. On one side, it is extremely good for our customers because they can improve their productivity that will help in terms of increasing their earnings. So with this improvement in efficiency, we are seeing the annual mileage covered by a truck has gone up to the tune of 30%. So what does this mean for a CV development engineer? So this means more number of visits to workshop for service because they will consume the period between each service faster. This would mean the expectations of long life from customers will increase because most of the customers will use the truck for a defined number of years and then sell them to buy new one. So when the kilometers covered per year increases, indirectly they will expect that the truck still survives for the same number of years. So you can see just a policy change in terms of GST has created so much of impact on CVs, and the CV development engineer has to see and then adapt his approach in terms of how he designs and develops parts, systems, and aggregates for commercial vehicles. So with this impact, I would like to list down 5 major challenges that a commercial vehicle development engineer faces. The first one is changing customer usage pattern. Mr. Sachdeva covered on this topic in terms of how the utilization of the truck differs from different regions and locations. So this, in a country like India, which has a varied geography and topography, it becomes very difficult. So in CVs developed for India needs to be very versatile, which can operate in shores like Chennai or Mumbai, to high altitudes like the regions in Himachal and Jammu and Kashmir, to high temperature deserts in Rajasthan. So the kind of topography we have is very wide. Adding to that, the policies demand for continuous change of usage pattern. Third, the applications are becoming better, the demand for efficiency is improving. That as well asks for more customization specific to the applications. So these elements define the changing customer usage pattern, which the CV development engineer has to foresee and then keep a constant touch with the market, with external factors, so that he can take them into his plan for adopting his development. The second challenge is balancing between time, quality, and cost. We heard from both Mr. Ramasubramaniam and Mr. Sachdeva on the need for being faster to the market. So it is not just being faster, we have to also meet the low purchase price requirements from the customers, and also we have to become more and become much better in terms of quality. So all the 3 elements has to be balanced. So the question by commercial vehicle designers will be, how do I balance between time, quality, and cost? And when there are conflicts, which one should I prioritize, time or quality or cost? The third challenge in front of commercial vehicle design and development engineers is the change in terms of the content inside the truck. The trucks and buses are not just metal, rubber, and plastic anymore. The electronics content in the trucks and buses are increasing. When I joined, or when I started my career, there was hardly any electronic component in a truck or a bus. But today we use more than 8 controllers and several sensors in trucks and buses with BS6. And going forward, it is going to further increase. Adding to that, IoT will play a major role in terms of connected trucks. So that means the ratio is changing. A mechanical engineer or an electrical engineer cannot work with just one vertical of expertise. So they have to step out of their comfort zone and then learn cross-functionally in other areas so that they can deliver better solutions to their customers. The fourth point, related to the third one, the uncertainty towards disruptive technologies. Automotive industry is going through disruption. We all talk about CASE, connected autonomous services and electric disruptions that is going on. This has already started in CVs, and in India, in some areas, we are already seeing a major domination, especially in connected trucks, and other areas will also gain speed. The CV development engineers will have following questions in their mind. One, will my career get impacted because of these disruptions? How can I prepare myself? for these disruptions? Second, how does these disruptions impact my work area? Fifth, and the last but not the least point is changing regulations and policies. I touched upon the number of regulations we have that has to be met in commercial vehicles, and also gave an example of how GST as a policy have an impact on design and development of commercial vehicles. So there are more and more regulations and policies which are coming that will have direct and indirect impact on commercial vehicle development. So as CV development engineers, we have to prepare for meeting these regulations and policies, or adapt our products to meet or utilize these regulations and policies as an opportunity, so that then we can create more benefit for the customers. So when I talk about CV development engineer, whom do I talk? Do I talk about the CV designers, CV test engineers, or CV integration engineers? Not anyone in specific. The challenges are for all the people who are in the commercial vehicle development space, starting from the suppliers to the engineers working in OEMs in all the departments. So having seen these challenges, I will briefly touch upon how one can overcome these challenges. So I have bucketed it under three verticals or three buckets, or I would say three attitudes. The first one is customer orientation. Always understand your customer better. Nowadays, using data helps to do it in a much better way. And using this data, try to be very precise in terms of target definition, and look at how you can add more value to your customer. A simple lean principle for doing that is double the good and half the bad. The second bucket is competency. Mr. Sachdeva also touched upon this as a very important factor. Build knowledge and competency. But for doing this, skill up, and skill up. That's what I would say. See and learn new things. Collaborate with suppliers, collaborate with institutes that will help in terms of developing innovation, and always look at how complexities can be reduced by making it simple. Modularity is one approach which the Indian OEMs are picking up. So there are many other ways by which things can be made simple. The last but not the least is curiosity. Be open for experimenting. Experiment, see the results, learn, and then re-experiment. Learn, unlearn, and relearn. So by doing this, we will be in a position to develop much better idea and also deliver much better solution for the industry. And not last but not the least, always look at things connected. Always don't look at things in silos. Connect them together. Connect with different kind of challenges and ideas, so that you can get much better solution for solving the design challenges that we have in the industry. So I would like to close my speech by expressing the Daimler Truck's purpose principle, which says for all who keep the world moving. Commercial vehicles are doing the job of keeping the world moving. Our customers are helping to keep the world moving. As CV designers and development engineers, we are supporting to keep the world moving. I would like to thank all of you who are keeping the world moving. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Thimayan, for your very lucid presentation and wonderfully crafted, articulated speech. You covered everything from the stringent regulations that are required, growing demands from the customers, and about the importance of the collaboration with the suppliers, which is very, very vital in the days to come. Now I request Mr. Sathyaseelan to speak. Mr. Sathyaseelan is an artist, professionally adept in transportation design, design thinking, design management. Everything is designed for him. At Leyland, he began with a mission to initiate and develop this styling studio in Chennai. Some of his work include Dost, Guru, Hybus, Sunshine, Partner, Style, Janbus, and the latest Avatar, modular trucks. Over to Mr. Satyasilan.
Thank you very much, Mr. Murali. I think my presentation is visible to everyone before we start. All right.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Please,
Thanks for a wonderful opportunity and a fantastic crowd here. I really appreciate the efforts of Motoring Trend to unite very important people, one from BMW and Daimler and Volvo Asia and Ashok Leyland. It's a wonderful mixture of collection of CV players in India. So we are all working for one common goal for the people. As my friend Pradeep told, you know, commercial vehicle business is as simple as that, working for people. So right now, these guys have given a very valuable things. I'm going to talk about aesthetics and trends, and of course, challenges in the making of commercial vehicle, which is very challenging in country like India specifically. Okay, so I think this Arrival is a new startup which is coming up. I'm going to talk about the POM trend of exterior of this bus. It's extremely simple and boxy, and it's an electric vehicle. And the balancing of colors, if you see the long and extended windshield, and even the side glasses also, you know, toughened glasses. It's almost controlled environment, look like a product designs, no more automotive kind of very fussy kind of detail. And the lights are LED, very powerful and effective. As everyone suggested before about the regulation and safety, I think this is going to abide by all the regulations and safety. But what is very interesting here is the modular technology. What is modular technology? See, if you see, as Mr. Ramasubramanian very rightly stated, over the past 30 years, there is no very big difference in the making of buses in this country. Why? Because you get the chassis and get all the you know, panels, which is stretched panels, and then standard glasses, mostly non-AC, and buy seats from somewhere and stanchions and things like that and assemble it. So it's look like a very rudimentary way of manufacturing buses. Why? Because the volume and the cost, and India is a cost-effective country, as you know. So the cost doesn't allow us to go for a premium tooling. But how we go to premium tooling, yet without compromising the numbers and costs of the and regulation of the vehicle? And this is one of the examples. I'm not taking a very big OEM here, it's a small startup, but this is exemplary. If you see that, these are the panels which is common across. And with the amount of digital enhancement and advancement which is available today, we can reduce so many hazardous you know, things. Say, for example, here there is a integration of camera. So you can 360-degree, you can surveillance here, you know, bus or truck or whatever you call it. And carefully sculpted dimensions across the panel, the seat width, the stanchions, and as well as the frame, the basic frame, these are all integrated together to handle specifically modular panels. By the way of increasing number of parts, you can meet the break-even of high level or premium manufacturing. As I was telling you, these are the equal panels. Every window and the panel, an arrangement of seats and stanchions and wheel hubs, and everything is pre-planned. So today with the digital technology, someone was talking about the first time right in design can be possible with the possible and very effective orientation of stakeholders, right from, you know, the regulatory people, homologation, testing, cab engineering, and styling, and everyone together sit as a cross-functional team, we can achieve this. And of course, what is very important here is instead of having 100 switches and too much of telltales, an instrument cluster. We can go for a common tablet, which can be, very effective. And whenever you require a particular switch or operation, it will appear like a smartphone or something like that. To develop this, not necessary that has to be a OEM product. You can take service of any of those other ancillary suppliers also. Now, when it comes for interior, the trend is to have, as I was telling you, exterior and interior and paneling and framing and seating, flooring, everything goes hands together. So now look at the stanchions, which has been integrated to the seat in the behind, like, injection molded seat back has been mounted with the stanchions, which will free some lot of spaces across. So therefore, the entire interior looks very clean, very neat, easy to clean, and also very safe in terms of color and texture plays a very major role in design. Actually, in commercial vehicle, aesthetics is expected free of cost here. Aesthetics is considered to be a, extravagance or luxury or whatever. I think the mindset has to be changed. An aesthetic is not costly. Aesthetic is not a extravaganza. It is called user experience and user interface. The past 10 years, the whole America and Western world was talking about user experience and user interface in every other products in terms of, consumer durables to commercial vehicle. So here we have to focus on the user. The problem with the Indian user is they don't demand sophistication. They never demand safety. They never demand luxury. What at all they are bothered about is the ticket price or cost of the transport. But the problem here is we are not going out of our comfortable zone to provide some user experience kind of stuff. So as Mr. Ramasubramanian rightly told me, 20 years ago, a driver of a truck or a passenger of a bus did not have any electronic gadgets in his pocket. And today he has a smartphone and you have to charge it, you have Wi-Fi, he needs so much of information. With the help of cloud computing and Internet of Things, then there are enormous amount of opportunities to improve the experience of a passenger within the bus. So I think designers and OEMs and people, is there any room for it that we'll cover in the end of the presentation? But when it comes for commercial vehicle, the DNA, the brand image, the brand identity is being carried forward across various options. So tomorrow, in any country, the commercial vehicle manufacturer is not just a bus provider or a truck provider. After buying truck, you are forget about it. Not like that. If you are going to have the entire ecosystem, you are going to have buses, vans, car sharings, and it's all connected together. The last mile connectivity is also going to lie on the responsibility of the operator. The OEM people are going to operate their commercial vehicles. Say, for example, in Chennai, XRY, Ashok Leyland Daimler is giving 10 buses. They are going to maintain the entire data, ticketing, cleaning, and last mile connectivity, sharing, taxis, delivery robots, micro factories and digital services and infrastructures, information, whatnot. Everything has to be connected together because the demand of design here is very less, and also we have to be foolproof when it comes for our own service providing. So I was talking about a modular panel. So these panels are SAM, and then high level tooling and stamping is going to be the trend tomorrow. And let's see how are we going to cater that. Before that, from Volvo, there is always, I think you guys are familiar with CES, it happens once in a year in January in America, where people comes up with their advancement of technology and they exposition their own technologies to cater to the futuristic needs of a human being, be it a commercial vehicle, be it a smartphone, be it domestic appliance, and everywhere there is an advance, but the change remains unchanged. You can't abide by whatever you have it or your past history and everything is there. But at the end of the day, this truck is to take a couple of commodity or X or Y from A to B, that there are a lot of questions being raised by OEMs all across the world. For example, this Volvo is rising. Why you need a driver? You can have haulage, tractor, anything, any kind of attachment to this, and it is going to be transported like this. And with the data, the cloud networking, anything can be possible. And the new commercial vehicle guy who is Neuron, who is going to come in, and he's going to change the entire, why should we have a big chassis and then sit on top of it? Instead, the driver is sitting much, much lower here. Probably there's no driver, and the driver, if all the driver is there, he's going to do something else. He's going to actually, for the placeholder there, I mean, tomorrow there will not be a driver also in the seat like the Volvo, which I was showing just before. And I was telling you, this digital world is going to give so many avenues and possibilities to reduce the switches, the gadgets, the gear shifts, and so many things in the interior. It's no more a mechanical extravagance. So it's going to be a electronic, a digital computer operated stuff. It's look like a computer or a IT guy's work table, and he has a tablet on top of it. And imagine a situation of this with our own India. So everywhere, like Motor Trend, everywhere, wherever I go, people are talking about electric trucks, driverless cars, and hyperlooping and things like that. And 2020, 2030, what is the trend all across, from IITs to OEMs and forums, CIIs, CIANs, Motor Trending, everyone, we talk about all these things. But what is in the reality? When I talk about user experience and user interface, you finally going to deliver something to the people, something like this. These guys are buying a FES front-end structure and build their own trucks and overloaded. Too much, so much so, sometimes it topple. And you have to understand the user of that particular market. One side, you're talking about platooning, driverless cars, and automated transport solutions. But here, on an IC engine, very powerful IC engine, 3 liter, 4 liter, 5 liter engine, on top of it, this guy is cooking his food. Look at this guy, how he is very happy to do that, how hazardous it is. And these are the buses which is operated by the government. And what could be the making price of it? Maybe the chassis is one of those from Tata's or Mahindra's or Ashok Leyland sometimes. But on top of that, government has built their own bus, which will not pass the rollover. Is there anything that sort of happen in anywhere else other than India? We have to think about that. This is where the front end structure is a majority. So 30, 40 years ago, the Western world have left out of making FES. You know what is FES is? Without any body, you have an engine, you have a steering wheel and seat, and then you take it to Namakkal and Jaipur somewhere, build your own body. That has been left out. But what at the end of the day, today Daimler is going to have FES, and tomorrow whoever comes on, maybe Volvo is going to have their front end structure. Are we taking forward or going backward? I mean, I asked the question to this, and India is like this. The village people are interacting with each other only like this kind of buses and their information with short maybe 5 kilometers or 10 kilometers travel, and how casual it is, how happy they are, how roomy there is. And if you ask me, is it safe? Even a 30 mph crash will take away them. And this is the need. Who is going to understand the need of such people? And traveling in a footboard is always a pleasure. Instead of making that as a safety, we are going to teach them. And in my village, this is how we drink water. We don't sip. We don't, touch any utensils by the lip. We find it little unhygienic. But what are we doing? We just copy paste from west and east and everywhere. And this was kept in Chennai airport. And of course, people of Chennai found it unhygienic. So therefore, they have a paper cup in over it. I mean, this is what is in India. The copy paste won't work. And very huge structures and highways. At the end of the day, we don't cover this pitch. And this is going to grow. This is not 10 years old or 20 years old photograph. This is yesterday's photograph. And this is in Ambattur bypass. Under that, people travel something like this. And who is going to address this? Is it an aesthetic problem or a social problem or economical problem or political problem? Whatever it is, I don't know, but it has to be solved. And what are we talking about? Hyperlooping and electric technology and so many other flashy things which is inspired from the West and East and everywhere. But today, this is the reality, and who's going to solve it? If you ask me, I'm also part of it. I'm shameless, but I don't know. Why I'm asking this is India is totally misunderstanding the technological advancements. So for example, making a statue is the same kind of activity right from there. But this tool has been changed very radically, very drastically. And when it's making a car, used to be a airbrush rendering and have a tape drawing, and you have a clay model. But today, the advancement has gone in artificial intelligence, and virtual reality takes you to any height. So you can even blow up 10 times more than what a AC vent is. You can walk into the AC system and then see what's happening. And tomorrow, with the augmented reality, you are going to select your colors just like that, like anything. But buying a camera doesn't assure you to end up with a wonderful photograph. The lens is not important. The eye behind the lens is what is very important. Buying the costliest tools is not the result. At the same time, in Mahabalipuram, how about having a polar bear in Mahabalipuram? This is how the copy paste technology is going to be. And all of you know what is this? This is London bus. Any maker, if you want to make a bus in London, you have to abide by all the regulations, and also you have to carry forward the legacy of the design of London. Indian designers are doing something in fashion design. Due credit to Sabyasachi, and he is converting all the Jaipurish, very subtle kind of stuff. This is for Indian women's apparels. Why it is? Because Western people, it's very difficult for them to understand the Indian fabric. And of course, this is the designer from NID is Vikram, who is empathically approaching the problem of carrying weak loads in this thing. From Ashok Leyland, we also think about it. We just want to, like for example, Avia, the whole in the front is being opened just to fill the DAT. Why you have such a 3-4 panels? And it is aesthetically premium as well as it is very cost effective by having an asymmetric detail across here to fill your DAT fuel fluids and other stuffs. Okay, so very quickly about Ashok Leyland's design. What am I doing there? It's all philosophical. So today, these Japanese people are transferring their design through their own Zen philosophy. They talk about Aiki, they talk about wabi-sabi kind of stuff. And India, we are rich in terms of so many philosophy. While we are making commercial vehicle or a car or Mahindra or Tata, or somebody is making what to do, whether to follow Europe and what to follow somebody from America. So Wrangler Jessa Ek and Aston Martin Ek. I mean, so look at this Japanese. They derive their products out of their philosophy. We also in Ashok Leyland try to see Aapki jeet, hamari jeet. As somebody was telling me, the customer's history is victory is our history. So the victory of visuals, the spirit of victory has been spread across a subconscious mind of design. So therefore, we celebrate design through the victory. So across the event verticals of country, at the moment of victory, this is how we stretch our hands. And this is the spirit of victory. This is Ashok Leyland's DNA. We have 3 different DNAs. One is for LCV and buses and trucks. Okay, and when it comes for buses, it is more welcoming, and it's very soft, and at the same time it is depicting Aapki jeet, hamari jeet. When it comes for LCV, it is more tighter, and when it comes for truck, and this is how it is. And very specifically about this truck, it's recently launched this Avatar platform, and it is totally a sheet metal jacket. Even the small panel here is also sheet metal, except for the headlamp bezel. Each and every part is sheet metal. Why sheet metal? That is what the user experience. Users in India, if it is broken, a plastic part is broken, they will not replace it because of the cost. If it is a plastic part is broken, he has to replace the entire thing. But if it is sheet metal, they can tinker and paint it, and they feel it is more safer. With the with the help of a very effective design team, today we have a synergy and brand identity which is connected to Aapki Jeet, Hamari Jeet, and Buddha Smile, and Ashoka Lotus, Buddha. These are the philosophies that Aapki Jeet, Hamari Jeet is also connected to the, Buddha Smile. So with this, from FES, normally what happens with the FES is they will buy the sheet metal front and then they will throw it just like that and then build on their own. Today, you can witness in the market, people like the design and aesthetics, and then they are celebrating the Aapki Jeet, Hamari Jeet, and then we also giving space for the customizer for them to paint and do on their own way to celebrate the DNA of Ashok Leyland. And with that note, the trend is one thing, as I was telling you, to change the demand, that to go to the grassroots of the needs of Indian customer, be it a driver or a passenger. I think we have to have a wonderful partnership with the policy makers of this country. The policy maker, the government, and everybody, they don't even think of design. We are so biased with engineering. We are so biased with rocket sciences. But the design and aesthetic and emotional values and user experience and user interface, especially, which is all connected to the safety, is to be combined with the policymakers. And also we should have a forum, somebody else jointly mentioned, we should have an institute. Not only that, we also have to have common part across. I see it in Japan. So the Toyota Coaster, Nissan Civilian, Mitsubishi, they also have a common steering wheel. Why not we have a common dashboard or a instrument panel or a tablet? Why can't we share some platform to do something? So we compete each other, but at the end of the day, when we are making it, why can't we make it modular and increase the number of parts of the panels in the side? In the front, you have your own DNA. So this kind of, understand, so how about the whole sites all across the OEMs of India is going to be the common? How about coming up with a very interesting Indian specific seat, rural ABC kind of stuff? So therefore the numbers are huge and we can design and manufacture to the customer. These are the recommendations, the trends of West and things like that. India is a different country even together. It can be worked out for each and everybody, and that is what is going to be the real design or real service or real understanding of the market and business and people. Thank you so much.
Well, Satyashilan, thank you so much. It was really nice to take us through the design elements and such things. You have a lot of questions, but let me just get into the Q&A session now. We have got a good number of questions. First, there are a couple of questions for Mr. Rajendra Singh Sachdeva. This is from Mr. Satish B to Mr. Sachdeva. The question is, with vehicle life increasing, is there any possibility to increase the fitness certificate duration in future? Instead of 1 year, can it be 2 or 3 years? You're on mute. You're on mute.
Yeah. Yes, it is possible, but it has more to do with the government norms and because it is again linked with the local registration authorities. So it's linked with that, but if we look from the vehicle side, vehicle reliability, durability is going up. And JD Power said that next 5 years, the maximum quality and reliability improvement will be there in the CVs only, not in cars. So there's a huge opportunity. They are going up, and as long as regulatory permits, I think vehicle OEM will not have any problem.
Okay. So one more question to you, sir. This is from Meenakshi. Where do you see the skilling and reskilling required? How can we aspire to make Indian models in global market?
Yeah,
with Euro 6?
Yes, and Euro 6, I think so far so good. India has established and demonstrated to the world that we can do Euro 6 development within the shortest possible time. And I think we are the country within 3 years we have gone from BS4 to BS6. And now in terms of competency and retention of the competency and also enhancement, I think some way of we can create that academies As far as the lower levels are concerned, maybe on the shop floor and white-collared supervisors, etc., we are getting very good support from the NEEM and other institute, which is under the skill development organization of the government of India. There we are getting good support. But as far as CV engineers are concerned, I think some initiative need to be taken so that we can skill the engineer and also take them toward the CV designs.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Sachdeva. Mr. Sachdeva has requested to leave at around 4:30 for another commitment. So I have finished with no questions pertaining to him. Now I have questions to Mr. A. Ramasubramanian.
Thank you very much, sir.
The question is, what is your thought on a common powertrain for India between the manufacturers to beat the volume and price? Or is it possible to have a common or shared IoT platform between CV makers? This is by, again, Meenakshi.
I don't think in the diesel arena there is any possibility of commonizing platforms for powertrain. Except when I say powertrain, I mean engine. I think already people are using common gearboxes like gearboxes which have been supplied by Eaton and ZF. That is used by many more than just one player. So drivetrain possibilities of commonization is quite high, but possibilities of using common engines, especially in India today, with each one having their own facilities and design capabilities, etc., appears to be low. Now, if you talk about the future, when you talk about IoT platforms, then I think use of basic platforms can be common, but at the end of the day, what is the output will necessarily be unique, because it is a very competitive market, and I don't see developments going in the direction of
Yeah,
can you
yeah, I'll go on to the next question. This is to Mr. Thimmayan by, again, Meenakshi. Where do you see gap between global and local truck?
Okay, so in terms of gap between global and local truck, the main gap between developed markets or triad markets and then India is in terms of reliability of the products. So normally a heavy duty truck in Europe is designed for a minimum of 1 million kilometers of life, so which they consume. And then in most cases, they are re-exported to African markets where they will see their second life. But Indian heavy-duty trucks are still not designed for those kind of mileages, most of them up to 500,000 or 5 lakh or 6 lakh kilometers. So this is the first and the main difference in terms of reliability. The focus on reliability is much higher when it comes to trucks in developed markets. Second, also in terms of power to weight ratio, which Mr. Murali touched upon in the beginning, we have seen a significant development in power to weight ratio improvement in India. We as Bharat-Benz started this journey with introducing higher power vehicles in the market. But still a long way to go because the power to weight ratios used in developed markets is much higher than what we have in India.
Okay, thank you. Now the question is to Mr. Sathi Seelan. Design features versus customer acceptance versus cost. So industry or the OEMs try to give more advanced technology, safety, facility to customers, but sometimes very difficult from the customer's acceptance of point on larger scale. So what's your view?
Okay, so I think that's a very interesting question. So I think we have to run a customer survey all across the country or a sample audiences or customers. The problem with today's, I don't want to complain it in such a way. So this has become a formality. Are we really going to understand what you need, what not you need? Say, for example, a small feature which can look very interesting from the designer's perspective. As the question or somebody who is asking is rightly said, what if it is rejected by the customer? But the customer is looking for something else, and without the partnership with the customer, how will you decide a feature or any keep the cost and development apart? So I think we, by and large, we have to do a true customer survey, which is the answer.
Okay, thank you. This question was asked by Mr. Dhanjay Kale. Okay, now there is a question asked by Arvindes. He has not mentioned to whom it was, but I think Mr. A. Ramasubramaniam and Mr. Thimayan can reply. How long are companies going to focus on IC engines? Will hybrid be a better option for India in the next 10 years?
I mean, to give a very quick answer, hybrid is not cost effective. I think we will either have to go into gas or electric. Hybrid is not cost effective. So let's, I don't think trucks will go into hybrids, not in the short term. I don't know, what do you think, Pradeep?
Yeah, so in terms of initial cost and then also operating cost, hybrid for commercial vehicles is not a very cost-effective solution. Yes. So the trend will be more shifting towards electric vehicles.
Okay.
And
There's another.
how long it will, it depends on what Mr. Ramasubramaniam mentioned in terms of the cost of battery and the power density of battery. So this development will define the time of or the inflection point from IC engines to electric vehicles.
Okay. There's another question to you, Pradeep, by Anand Ganeshan. I think he is a student. Which skills needed to be a successful CV design engineer coming from mechanical engineering?
The most important skill is listening. Okay, so that is also our purpose principle at Daimler Trucks. We start with listening.
Okay.
Keep your eyes and all the senses open. So one example I would like to tell here is whenever I go to visit a customer in his premise, the best place or the first place I would like to visit is his backyard. So where you see the scrap material that he throws away after use in the truck. And that is where, as a designer, you can learn a lot on what is working and what is not working. So listen and observe. These are the most important skills for a successful CV design engineer.
Okay. Mr. Ramasubramaniam, you have also been asked the same question where Mr. Satish B pointed out. Fitness certification, the duration, can this be increased with the quality of vehicle going up?
Yes, I think it should be possible to increase. It's obviously a bit sensitive from the point of view of regulatory control. But I think in today's vehicles, if you're going to make it roadworthy for a particular time, it's not necessary you go through the same thing again and again every year, considering the quality of vehicles.
So now I have a question from Shauvnik Sinhare. This is actually addressed to Mr. Sachdeva, but he is not there. But this is very technical. I think Mr. A. Ramasubramaniam and Mr. Thimayan can address this. The question is, with reference to tire life improvement, how much importance would CV manufacturers assign to enhance inner liner technology?
Pradeep, you want to take it?
Inner liner technology. I didn't get it.
Related to tires.
Would you explain what is the meaning of inner liner?
I have no clue, but okay, let me ask, let me go back to the participant who posed the question, then I will get back to you through email, right? So now we are going to close the screen for a couple of minutes for the polls running parallelly, then I will come back to you for the closing remarks, just 2 minutes. Thank you.
Okay.
The screen will go blank, but it will come back again after 2 minutes. எனக்கும் போயிடுவோம், எல்லாருக்கும் போயிடுவோம். So I think the poll results have come and then it's been sent to the participants now. I have the honor of thanking each and everyone. So dear panelists and participants, hope you had a good time at the webinar. I would like to thank Mr. Ramasubramanian, Mr. Rajendra Singh Sachdeva, Mr. Pradeep Kumar Thimayan, and Mr. Satyaseelan for sparing the valuable time to discuss and deliberate on the challenges in designing commercial vehicles. I now understand how crucial and how effective the designers should be in designing truck or a bus because it is connected to the society directly. Thank you, participants, for your questions. Due to paucity of time, we were unable to accommodate all the questions. However, I made my best efforts to combine all the related queries. I'm sure there are a lot of takeaways from this webinar for the participants. So once again, I thank all the panelists, the participants, and Allison Transmission to support the webinar and to make the webinar a grand success. I'd like to thank my colleagues at Monitoring Trends, especially Sridharan Ravi, Sheena Mehta, and Sharad Matade for their support extended by them to conduct the meeting. Thank you so much and have a great evening. Stay safe.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.